took a position as follows. On the finance bill, our members have come to the conclusion that it has only bad news, worst news, and the worst news. We consider this to be a bill from people living either in another planet or another country other than Kenya. It is the position of the parliamentary group that the millions of Kenyans struggling with the high cost of unga, sugar, fuel, school fees, and electricity, among others, businesses struggling with shortage of supplies, high taxes, Kenyans struggling with high medical expenses, parents, civil servants struggling with diminishing pay and increased tax deductions, do not believe this bill is from a government working for them. They do not believe anyone living in this country can come up with the raft of taxes contained in the Finance Bill 2023. Our parliamentary group has also taken an extremely dim view of the arrogance with which the Kenya Kwanza administration wants to take billions out of the pockets of some of the poorest people in this country, while expecting them to cheer. Kenya Kwanza position on the finance bill is take or leave it. We take the position that the budget proposals offer completely no support for working people and upcoming businesses. For the taxes being levied, people are getting nothing in return. We oppose the burden being imposed on working people through reckless measures like house levy, income tax, and taxes on per diem. We oppose increased taxes on startups and small businesses. We oppose increased taxes on fuel, which will raise the cost of the product by at least Kenya shillings 10 per liter. Azimio is of the view that this finance bill takes us back to the 1980s. It takes us back to the era of cost sharing in public institutions. It takes us back to the era of structural adjustment programs. It takes us back to the 1980s because the people who were in charge back then are in charge today. It is our position that in the long history of budget making in this country, never has a regime tasked our people to sacrifice so much by way of taxes for so little by way of gains. We have refused to sit back and watch as Kenyans are being harassed to fix cash crunch caused by economic mismanagement, wasteful spending, corruption, and skewed and incompetent hiring into critical public positions. We reject this backward march. We reject the finance bill in total. We reject excess taxation to finance wasteful expenditure. On reorganization of leadership, it is our hope that the media fraternity and Kenyans at large recall that at our last meeting, we recognized the resolutions of our affiliate party, Jubilee, reached at the party's special national delegates convention, including the change of leadership. We said those changes must be taken as final and must be respected and enforced by the office of the Registrar of Political Parties. In furtherance of those resolutions by Jubilee NDC, Azimio has today settled on the Honorable Mark Mwenje, the MP for Embakasi West. as the Deputy Minority Whip of the National Assembly. Honorable Mwenje will be taking up the position that was left vacant upon the removal of the Honorable Sabina Chege about a month ago. We recognize Honorable Mwenje as a committed, consistent, energetic, and youthful fighter who has shown the will to stand up for the people and the party. We have no doubt that he will prove equal to the task. We reiterate that Azimio will do everything possible to protect affiliate parties from heinous attacks emanating from the Kenya Kwanza regime. We will do whatever it takes to protect multi-party democracy, for which many Kenyans lost their lives. On the joint bipartisan talks, the PG received a briefing as follows: that Kenya Kwanza has offered that the joint co-chairs should write to the IEBC selection panel requesting them to halt the process for about 21 to 30 days. To preserve the IEBC's presidential election servers, the Kenya Kwanza side has expressed willingness to co-author a letter to the IEBC reminding them of their legal obligation to preserve the presidential election servers and the data contained therein. Kenya Kwanza has asked that the co-chairpersons meet to discuss and write the required letters so that the joint bipartisan talks can continue. With regard to interference in Jubilee, the Kenya Kwanza has indicated willingness to commit in writing to respect the ruling of the political parties' disputes tribunal, confirming the Jubilee Party leadership. They have no offers on lowering of the cost of living because they are married to the finance bill, and we have a plan for the bill. The PG has noted the two concessions made by Kenya Kwanza. It is, however, the view of the parliamentary group that those concessions are not good enough to allow us return to the talks. It is also our position that the finance bill as presently crafted must be withdrawn and replaced by a bill that appreciates the suffering of the people, the people of Kenya are going through. The bill must be withdrawn in totality and be reintroduced afresh in a manner that is sensitive to the plight of the poor Kenyans. Indeed, the Azimio MPs have resolved to sign a public pledge to oppose the bill, awaiting its withdrawal. Indeed, many other MPs, other than those from Azimio, are equally prepared to do this. It is our resolution that other than merely committing not to interfere in the affairs of other parties, Kenya Kwanza must agree that all Jubilee MPs, and indeed any other MPs, who have defected to Kenya Kwanza, in essence, have to face by-elections in line with the Constitution of Kenya. Until all these are agreed upon, the joint bipartisan talks remain suspended. Kenya Kwanza has up to midnight today to comply. Thank you very much. End of statement. We are not taking any questions. Thank you.
May we allow our leadership to exit and then we may follow.
Okay, they're ready. Okay, fine. This is the Azimio Parliamentary Group meeting statement. We have had a meeting of the Azimio Parliamentary Group, the party's leadership, and our delegation to the joint bipartisan talks. Over 130 members of parliament attended today's meeting, a clear indication of our side's commitment to engage on the critical issues facing the country and to fight for Kenyans. This meeting was a follow-up to that of 24th May 2023, in which, among other things, we endorsed the decision by our delegation to walk out of the talks until Kenya Kwanza agrees to deal with the interim issues raised by our team. The meeting today deliberated on three main issues. One, reorganization of Azimio leadership in the National Assembly. Two, an in-depth analysis of the Finance Bill 2023.